the World Health Organization has a small office here in Barcelona focusing on health system strengthening and more specifically on health financing. We're part of the regional office for Europe, which actually goes from the Atlantic to the Pacific because we have 53 countries we cover, and it includes Russia, Turkey, Central Asia, most of Central Asia and the Caucasus. So I'm not doing any work to do with India at the moment, but I happen to live there and work there on a health reform project between 2000 and 2003 with the European Commission. A lot has changed since then, but I will try and say a few words. The other thing I want to say a little bit about is that on Monday and Tuesday of this week, the World Health Report 2010 was launched. And the focus of this report, I've put on the screen here, is health system financing, the path to universal coverage. So there's a lot, and this meeting also is a reflection of this priority of increasing focus on health systems, how health systems function, and in particular the financing of health systems, and how the way health financing works has an impact on universal coverage. Let me just start with a quick chart. What is, with a question actually, what is a good health financing system? When we work with countries in terms of health financing, we always start with the objectives. What really are we trying to achieve? So, for us, a good health financing system is one that facilitates and ensures, as much as is possible, that people get the health services that they need when they need them. It's very obvious, but this is a very clear objective for us. We're not only thinking about money, we're clearly thinking about access and need. We're obviously also concerned about the quality of those health services. So the way you finance a health system also has an impact on the quality of those services. And we're interested in financial protection. So we are concerned that in much of the world, people are having to pay beyond their capacity to pay in order to access health services. Often get pushed into poverty as a result of having to pay for health services. A bit more specifically, when we analyze the way health financing systems are organized, we tend to look at three broad areas: the way that revenues are collected, the way that money is collected to finance health systems, the way the money is pooled, pooling. So this reflects, after collecting the money, what happens to it before it is spent on health services. It's the bit in the middle we call the pooling. This is where the risk sharing happens, the solidarity mechanism happens. It's a little bit invisible in many respects, but critical when we're talking about the health system, the coverage objectives, as I've put on the chart here. And finally, how is the money actually spent? On what services? Which geographical areas? Primary care, tertiary care. Are these effective services? Or is there a lot of waste going on? I will move on. So this is, in a sense, an overriding, for us, an overriding health financing objective, that people should not become poor as a result of using healthcare. Neither should they be forced to choose between their physical and mental health and their economic health. Okay, the title here let me read it to you. As public health spending increases, as governments increase the amount they spend, they invest in health systems, the amount that people have to pay out of pocket tends to fall. It sounds very obvious. These are countries from the Asian region, and I've circled India there. On the vertical axis, we have, this is an indication of how much health systems, how much of the money comes from people themselves having to pay out of pocket. Okay? So India there, we have around 70% of all health spending in India, people are paying out of their own pockets. Okay? Along the horizontal axis is an indication of how much the government spends relative to GDP. So we can see India there spends, in terms of government spending on health, this is around 1% of GDP, one of the lowest in the region. And they rely, as a result, very heavily on out-of-pocket spending. Okay, this is clear relationship. The second point, countries which rely heavily on out-of-pocket spending. So on this graph, as you move to the right, the country relies much more on out-of-pocket spending. You tend to see higher levels of what we call catastrophic health spending. This is really an indication of families, when they get sick, having to spend money on health services, getting into quite serious financial problems, and actually becoming poor as a result of having to pay for health services. So this is the kind of information we tend to look at when we look when we analyse health financing systems. There's a clear relationship between how much a government puts into the health system and the financial protection for its population. I got a little bit, last night I was looking at some data for India, so let's look at India. How important is public health spending in India? What this chart tells us is that if we look at 2008 on the right, if you look at all the money spent on health in India, 28% is by government, so 72% is private. And essentially, over the 13 years represented on this chart, it hasn't changed that much. Okay, since 2004, it's been increasing steadily, but in many ways, it's only recovering to the level 10 years earlier. This is a similar chart which puts public spending as a percent of GDP, so it's just below the 1% level.